Distilled shenanigans. Distilled shenanigans. Welcome to episode 3 of the Gateway Bourbon Series. Today, we are going to talk about Jim Beam White Label. Probably should have started with this one, but, hindsight's 2020. I've been struggling trying to record some of these. I'm a little bit off my game, kind of going through my grieving process, and my mind's been a little jumbled. So I've been very grateful for all of the friends and family that have been checking in on me and making sure that, I'm doing okay and just, overall being there for me. Anyway, we'll get started with this one. So Jim Beam White Label. So Jim Beam, it's obviously distilled by the Jim Beam Distillery, which was founded in 1795. So it's one of the oldest distilleries that we have here. It's also one of the #1 selling brands around the world. So I probably, like I said, I probably should have done this one first just because of how big the brand itself is. It was founded pre-Prohibition, and it was one of the very few that obtained licenses to operate through Prohibition for medicinal alcohol. So they were able to keep on keeping on during that time frame. As we kind of talked about in other Knob Creek, we talked about a little bit about Knob Creek. It's also made by Jim Beam. So when we say the #1 seller brand, it includes all of the brands that are distilled by that distillery. We're going to look at this color. She's kind of a light caramely color, maybe more of a butterscotch than a deep caramel. You can tell that it hasn't really been, looks like it could use a little bit more age in those oak barrels. Let's see how we smell here. So on the nose, for being a cheap whiskey, there is nothing on the nose that is offensive. Now, sometimes you can get some whiskeys and bourbons that you bring it up and you can smell like, oh, there's just a funk to it that doesn't make you want to put it to your lips. Now this one, it's definitely oak forward. And you can smell the vanilla with a little bit of spicy, little bit of cinnamon in there. Supposedly, there's a fruit layer hidden, but I honestly, with this batch, I can't really smell it. It's also been 70 degrees here, and I feel like the trees are blooming, so I don't know. The old snifter might not be doing its job very well. It definitely doesn't smell sweet like the Evan Williams and the Maker's Mark did. This one, we're going full oak, full vanilla. All right, let's go in for the taste. It's got a little heat through it. I'm not going to say it's well balanced because it kind of hits you in the top of the palate. A late little hug. No cuddling with this one. This is like coming in hot and then letting go. I don't know where I got my bourbon hug metaphors for, but I'm going to have to keep going. I'm going to have like a hug cuddle chart. Unfortunately for me, here there's a hint of caramel in there, but all I taste is oak. It's just like I'm chewing on an oak stave, gnawing away. This is not one that I would sip on. And there were quite a few different flavors that you could smell as we were swirling it around, but they are definitely lost within the flavor of this bourbon itself. A lot of times that dry oakiness that you find with some of the younger bourbons, that's really all it is. It's just young bourbon that hasn't had time to mellow and age out. And honestly, the flavor isn't that interesting to me. It's available and affordable, but at a similar price point as the Evan Williams Bottle and Bond. And I prefer that little bit of sweeter flavor in the bourbon, even though that one doesn't have much of a hug at all. But as far as the flavor profile, it's more of what I like. Now, if you like a heavy oak whiskey, this one would be great to mix with. And in fact, a lot of the bars will have the Jim Beam White Label as the house mixer that they do their drinks with, because it really does cut through some of, you're going to get a Coke, a Jim and Coke, you're going to taste that oaky flavor, and sometimes that's what folks really want to taste in some of those cocktails. But all in all, not unpleasant, but for me, I would wait till some of the other more mature Jim Beam bottles to really see how these flavors come through, and we'll get to those later. And you're all probably laughing, like, I've got this little tiny shot of airplane bottle of Jim Beam here. I don't keep this one in my collection. It's really a good opportunity to try one of the bourbons and not feel like you're going to have this bottle on the shelf that you're never going to drink because you tried it and thought it was absolutely hideous. So try a mini. Your bourbon, a lot of your liquor stores that have a good bourbon selection are also going to have some really nice small ones, so you don't have to go all out. So anyway, that's all we have for today. I look forward to seeing which one we pick next time. I hope you have a great night, everyone. And remember, you only get one shot. Make it top shelf.